Hey, what's up? It's Frano here. I'm just gonna talk a little bit about a conversation I've just had in the city centre. So, I went to the city centre and I came across a tent of information about Islam. And after, if you've been watching my channel a few weeks ago, I was given a Bhagavad Vita, or sorry, Bhagavad. It's called Bhagavad Gita book, and basically I started reading that like last night because I've been turning off all technology, like internet technology, at like 10 o'clock, so I have a couple hours to meditate. And in this time, I've also been reading before I go to sleep. So I've been reading about that, and that was interesting. It has some nice illustrations of how, like, half human face, half pig face, half human face, half bear, half human, half tree, and half human, half. I think that was it actually, unless there was another. But basically, it's the idea of reincarnation. Like, however we behave on Earth, if we eat loads and are lazy and not using our full like brain, perhaps, or abilities, then we'll reincarnate as a pig. Or if we like lying down, sleeping and resting, and you know, are vicious, have a vicious side, maybe a bear. But I mentioned this to a young guy today, the Islam or Muslim. His name was Osam, and he basically said his faith does not believe in, like, they believe kind of like that humans are above animals on a certain, to a certain degree, that we wouldn't incarnate back into an animal form, but more either on heaven or in a human form. So, but a lot of the things he was speaking about, because I mentioned that I'd been raised kind of under the Catholic indoctrination system, he mentioned how Muhammad was actually having revelations or re-experiencing some Christian experiences of, like, Mary and Jesus, and how God was giving him a part of what God had seen in these events, such as when Mary was actually pregnant with Jesus after not having any, intercourse. She was pregnant, and how Jesus actually spoke and stuff as a baby. These experiences actually appear in the Quran. And what I also admired was the discipline that Muslims have. They don't drink any alcohol, and for 30 days, like, this guy Osam has never touched alcohol in his life, never drunk any alcohol, and they don't believe in any, like, mal play before marriage. And he was saying how Ramadan, 30 days for each year, or 30 days continuously, you cannot eat from sunset till sundown. So after the sun sets at night, you can eat. So basically this means if you're living in some parts of England, that might be like 8, 9 o'clock at night, so you can't eat until then, and you have to eat and stop eating, obviously, and then you can't eat for the whole rest of the day for 30 days straight. So I honestly admire this as a religious discipline. I go on about fasting, but I've never tried it on such a level of that. And this includes water, no tea. I mean, it's just amazing what Muslims do. And he was a very nice person. He kept linking it back to oneness and God, and this is what I kind of admire and I love. This is the kind of multi-linking of faiths. So they call it like universalism, when you kind of take all the good that crosses over between faiths, and you kind of, I suppose, in a way, what I'm trying to do is kind of, I'm not trying to put a lot of energy into things that cross over a lot in faith, in different faiths. So I could say, like, I believe in reincarnation, but then I wouldn't say I necessarily believe in reincarnation from like humans to animals and stuff, although I'm not going to cut out the idea of reincarnation. Or I could say I believe in heaven as a state of being, or a plane that humans can reach up to before, as perhaps temporary or perhaps an eternal plane. But yeah, this conversation was really good, and we spoke of different words for things like salah is, I think, the prayer. They pray 4 to 5 times a day, which is admirable, and it's kind of a reminder of the higher power. All religions seem to all have they all believe in a higher power. So to pray 4 to 5 times a day is effectively, it's putting this time where you're putting yourself back on track. And not only for yourself, it's giving information above. Say you're still grateful. I told him how I sometimes give my gratitude before I eat, because I believe that, obviously, God, spirit, love, whatever you want to call it, is supplying us with the food so we can sustain ourselves and live. And yeah, it's just another one of those experiences where you speak to a spiritual brother and you feel at peace, and you feel like you've learnt a lot, and it is ultimately evolution for our race to see the truth in one another and other religious ideologies that might not be the ones that we were raised into. Equally, I suppose you could look at people that aren't religious and try and relate to them, but I feel like spiritual brothers and sisters that have discipline and a belief of a higher power, and have had, even if they've had experiences or not of higher power intervention, these people are more interesting in a way, and they're more fulfilling, and they're not the kind of people that they're not the kind of people that just want to hang around with you for physical feeds and lusty goals and quick fire kind of loops of happiness. These are the people that will be there no matter how you're feeling, and they're especially Islam being a religion where you can't drink alcohol, that you're going to know these people who they really are all the time, because that is who they are. And much admiration. I showed a lot of gratitude, admiration to Osam when I spoke to him, because he's 24 and I'm 25 years old, that is, and he looked younger, and you've got to say it's probably down to the spirituality, not drinking alcohol, fasting. It results in a healthy, slim person. And yeah, people that you can tell when someone is actually disciplined, healthy and spiritual sometimes by looking at them, and if they look young and stuff, that anyway. But I'm going into genetics there, I'm going off on a tangent, but yeah, it's another nice brother I met, and another doorway to a religion. So I've got this that I'm vlogging now. I'm adding this to my Hindu Bhagavad Gita faith that I'm reading. I have a history of Christianity. I practice meditation for Buddhism. Somewhat believe in reincarnation, Buddhism, and I am just at the beginning of my universal journey of trying to allow openings for a multi-faith world and a multi-faith mind. So we'll leave it there. I need to go have some dinner because I'm starving, and I'm going to eat early tonight, so I digest all the food before I go to sleep tonight. Later. So peace in and out, over and out. Love and my high vibrations. I hope you have a brilliant week ahead, and stay strong, persevere, and stay open. Much love.